Hi everybody! The film that I've chosen for this assignment is called Crazy Rich Asians. It is a romantic comedy where both the main characters, Nick and Rachel, they're of Asian descent, hence the name Crazy Rich Asians. Nick comes from a large, wealthy family. He was raised in Singapore, and Rachel she was raised in America by a single mother. So in the film, Nick takes Rachel to Singapore to meet his family. Because they come from such different cultures, there's a lot of stuff that happens as a result of that. So the first concept that I would like to talk about is the display rule, which refers to what kinds and amounts of emotional expression are appropriate. The example that I thought of from this film is when Nick first introduces Rachel to his mom. Rachel goes over to her and gives her like a big hug, and you can tell by his mom's facial expression and body language that this was, for her, not appropriate. It was not the time and place for that, but Rachel did because she thought she was being friendly and she wanted to make a good first impression, but due to the differences in culture, this was not appropriate according to his mom. The next concept is emotion work, which is the amount of effort put into showing the emotion that we think is appropriate. So in the film, Nick's mom confronts Rachel and says kind of some rude things to her, and she doesn't think Rachel will ever be enough for Nick or enough for the family, and that really hurts Rachel. So in the next scene, it's just Nick and Rachel alone together, and he's trying to talk to her, but she's upset by what just happened, but she's kind of putting on a brave face, and she doesn't want him to know that she's upset because Nick worships his mom, and she doesn't want Nick to know the real reason why she's upset. So she's putting a lot of work into putting on a brave face and not showing that his mom just said some awful things to her. The next concept is the submission style of a relationship, which refers to one partner abdicating power to the other partner's culture. So in the film, at one point, Nick says to Rachel that he's willing to give up his entire life in Singapore. Like, he's heir to his family's business. He'll give all of that up. He'll leave his family and he'll just move back to New York permanently with Rachel because he wants to be with her. So he's willing to just give up his whole culture and family and everything just so he can be with Rachel. So I would think that that's an example of a submission style in regards to culture. So the next concept is the privileged disadvantaged dialect, and this refers to individuals who come from cultures who do not enjoy the same level of privilege or power in society. So there's not really one instance in this movie that demonstrates this. So because Nick comes from a wealthy family and Rachel was in a lower class household, that you kind of see those discrepancies in the whole movie. So I guess one example could be when they first get to the airport, because they're going to go over to Singapore. Rachel is assuming that they're going to sit in the economy section of the plane, but because of Nick's wealth, they are actually riding in first class, and she's confused by this at first, and she doesn't know what's going on. I guess a bigger example of this would be the fact that Nick's mom doesn't approve of Rachel because she doesn't come from the right family or have the right background. So because of their different levels of privilege and power in society, Nick's mom doesn't think that Rachel is a suitable partner for Nick, and she won't fit into the family because she doesn't come from the right background. So that's my take on how this movie relates to chapter 8. It's definitely a good movie, and I definitely recommend watching it.